Apple is a tech giant that needs no introduction, and one of their revolutionary products is the iPhone.
And we are calling it iPhone.
But recently, there has been a lot of talk about the decline in the sales of iPhones, especially after the IDC reported that Apple had shipped just 50 million phones in the first quarter of 2024, and this number is 10% lower than the earlier years. If you're interested in the fascinating details of this decline in sales and want to know why it's come about, then don't go anywhere and watch this video till the end. If you didn't know, the iPhone was launched in 2007 and it changed everything in the smartphone industry.
These are not three separate devices. This is one device.
It wasn't just a phone, it was a mini computer that can fit in your pocket. Introduced by Steve Jobs, it combined a phone, iPod, and internet communicator into a single device with a multi-touchscreen interface. With the release of each new iPhone, Apple managed to captivate the market with innovative features and sleek designs. In 2008, Apple introduced the App Store to revolutionize how we use smartphones and create an ecosystem that fosters thousands of new businesses and applications. iPhone sales skyrocketed. By 2021, over 2 billion iPhones had been sold globally, and this contributed significantly to Apple's revenue, making it one of the most profitable companies in the world. This is the reason why it's so shocking to people that despite huge discounts in its Chinese stores, Apple is still recording a decline in sales for iPhones. In 2024, Apple's iPhone sales experienced a notable decline, marking the steepest quarterly drop since the start of the pandemic. In the first quarter of 2024, iPhone sales fell by 10% year over year, primarily affecting the company's overall revenue, which decreased by 4% to $90.8 billion. This problem is making analysts wonder if this is the beginning of the end of Apple's iPhone. Let's start with the reason for this decline. The major problem Apple is facing when it comes to iPhone sales is the longer replacement cycle its users now have. This basically means that people are not replacing their old iPhones as much as they used to. There are a few reasons for this condition, and one of them is the fact that iPhones are way more durable than they used to be. For example, iPhones have been water and dust resistant since the iPhone 7. While this is a good thing for consumers, it means that there is no urgent reason for users to change or upgrade their phones. Another reason why there is a longer replacement cycle is the high price of iPhones. Apple has always presented itself as a premium brand, but the cost of the latest models is so expensive that even loyal customers are thinking twice before upgrading. When you have to spend over $1,000 for a new phone, it's not a decision you make lightly. This high price of the product means that even those who have used their old phones for a long time are not sure that they want to keep using an iPhone just because of how much it costs to get one. The pricing strategy has also made it difficult for Apple to attract new customers, especially in price-sensitive markets like India and parts of Southeast Asia. More importantly, economic pressures such as inflation and rising living costs make it harder for consumers to justify spending so much on a new device. Apart from the longer replacement cycle, let's talk about innovation. When was the last time an iPhone had a feature that truly wowed you? The first few iPhone models brought groundbreaking changes to the market, but lately, the updates have not felt any better than the older versions. There is a growing sentiment that the newer models aren't offering enough new features to justify the upgrade. Why should I bother spending so much money upgrading my phone if I'm just going to get the same thing anyway? Features like better cameras and slightly improved processors are nice, but they don't create the same excitement as when the iPhone first introduced touchscreen technology or the App Store. For example, the most recent release, the iPhone 15, only has 2 new features: a USB-C charger and no more mute button. Considering the USB-C charger was forced on them by the EU, it's not really much of a change. Apple needs to start getting more innovative with their iPhones very quickly, or sales will keep going down. Another major factor behind this decline is market saturation. Most people who want an iPhone already have one. The market is saturated, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for Apple to find new customers. In developed markets, nearly everyone owns a smartphone, so there's basically no one to buy the phones. The fact that many users are satisfied with their current devices and see no reason to upgrade is also not helping. Apple has some serious competition from other brands like Samsung, Google, and Huawei, which are producing high-quality smartphones that often come with a lower price tag. These alternatives are becoming more attractive to consumers who are looking for the most bang for their buck. So, consumers now have many other good options and don't have to choose an iPhone. The next reason we're going to look at might be perhaps the biggest one of them all, and that is China. Let's explain it a little. For the past few years, China has been responsible for about 20% of all iPhone sales. And considering this device is sold all over the world, that is quite a large percentage. However, since 2024, sales from China have been down by almost 40%, and this is after some aggressive price cuts in January. On the other hand, Chinese manufacturing companies like Huawei, Vivo, and Honor have outsold Apple for the first time in years in China. We can see that it seems like the Chinese market is supporting their local companies at the expense of Apple. This is as a result of the economic nationalist movement in China, which came about because of Beijing's trade war with the US. Since Apple is quite dependent on China for sales and the Chinese consumers are now actively choosing to support their own instead of Apple, you can see where the problem is. Apart from China, stricter regulations in various countries are also affecting how Apple does business globally. So, is it the end of Apple's superiority in the smartphone world? Now that you know exactly why Apple's iPhone sales are collapsing, you're probably wondering what's next for the tech giant. Well, in terms of the company's revenue as a whole, Apple has definitely got things handled. It has been taking steps to ensure that its revenue stays afloat even despite the fall in sales of the iPhone. For one, they are focusing more on services. The Apple ecosystem now includes Apple Music, Apple TV+, iCloud, and more. These services generate recurring revenue and help offset the decline in hardware sales. Apple's services segment has been growing steadily, providing a more stable income stream that is less affected by the volatility of hardware sales. Apple is also investing heavily in research and development with the aim of bringing fresh innovations to the market. The company is exploring new product categories and enhancing existing ones to create a more integrated and valuable ecosystem for its users. Another important factor to consider is Apple's environmental and social initiatives. The company has made significant efforts to reduce its carbon footprint and ensure ethical practices throughout its supply chain. Incentives such as using recycled materials in their product and aiming for carbon neutrality by 2030 resonate well with environmentally conscious customers. These efforts can enhance brand loyalty and attract customers who prioritize sustainability. Also, Apple is making strategic moves in the education sector. With products like the iPad and various educational apps, Apple is actually becoming a staple in classrooms around the world. This focus on education does not only open up new revenue streams, it also builds brand loyalty from a young age. As students become familiar with Apple's ecosystem, they are more likely to continue using Apple products in the future, even if it's just because of what they're used to. As to whether it is the end of Apple's reign in the smartphone industry, we will have to wait and see. Despite the fact that sales have declined, the iPhone is still the highest-selling smartphone globally. Because of this, Apple can still save their spot if they work hard and fast to bring new and fascinating things to the market. Many industry experts agree that while iPhone sales might be declining, Apple as a company is far from collapsing. The company has a loyal customer base and a strong brand, and with the upcoming release of new technologies like augmented reality and improvements in AI, Apple has the potential to reignite customers' interest. In conclusion, the iPhone is for sure facing some challenges, but as long as Apple keeps evolving, those challenges should be fixable. The dip in iPhone sales has increased the urgency for Apple to innovate. Although we do not know yet what the fate of Apple's iPhone would be, one thing seems certain: Apple is here to stay, and they are not going anywhere anytime soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Also, click on that notification button so you never miss a video from us. Bye for now.